Hello, I am Brooks Thompson from the National Sports Media Association, and today I have the privilege and the honor to have the 2024 Alabama Sportscaster of the Year, Barry McKnight. Barry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, sitting here in my office on the campus of Troy University in Troy, Alabama, where I've always wanted to be. So, yeah, life is good. You catch me at a good time in my day, in my career, and in my life for sure.
I will say personally, before I ask questions, you have been one of the people that I look up to in broadcasts. We spoke about a little off air how I use some of your spotting boards. So you have provided the community of broadcasting with a huge helping hand. So I wanted to say thank you, and you are definitely an amazing recipient of this award.
It means a lot to me that you say that. Number one, that I have the opportunity to visit with you, and and I'm appreciative of your kindness. It's also good to get some feedback. For those who don't know, I have a website, and I've kept it for years at barrymcknight.com. And over those years, I've posted my spotting charts, football charts, drive charts, basketball scorecards, baseball scorecards, and everything. And every year, about this time of year, I tweak it and try to improve it and make sure that it's all customizable. And so, and I've done this for years, and I run into people every once in a while who have used them. They're all free of charge. And it's gratifying to know that people, especially young broadcasters, because I started developing them when I was a young broadcaster, that young broadcasters like yourself get some value out of it. That means a lot to me.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. So I wanted to let people know that if they don't have one, this is the perfect person, the perfect website, barrymcknight.com to get one. So now I'll just jump into some questions. And first, I want to ask you, throw you all the way back to when you were a young broadcaster. How did you get interested in the industry of sports media and broadcasting?
I'm one of those in broadcasting or in any walk of life, really, that you read about and hear about. This is all I've ever wanted to do. This, when I was a little kid, I grew up. We moved to what I consider my hometown, Palm Bay, Florida, when I was in third grade. And imagine the luck. We moved into a house right across the street, literally across the street from Palm Bay's Sportsplex. I mean, people would hit foul balls into our yard all the time. And I thought it was great. Of course, I played every sport. I was over there all the time anyway. My family would always joke with me. I'm either reading or I'm out there playing ball. When I was playing youth league baseball, I mean little kid baseball, they let me go up when my team wasn't playing into the little rickety plywood press box above the visiting dugout, and I got to do public address for the games. Otherwise, nobody would get to do it. But they had the equipment, and I got paid in snow cones. And I got up there and I learned how to keep score in baseball games. I learned a little bit at literally 10 years old, a little bit about enunciation, and I got after it. I made sure downstairs I got everybody's name pronounced correctly. And I always thought, what an amazing way to spend your life, not necessarily even to make a living, but to spend your day doing something that you love. Later on, my sister Melanie and I did a guest spot when we were in middle school at WMEL Radio in Melbourne, Florida, about our middle school. And then when we got to college, I went to school at the University of Florida, ended up transferring to Auburn. And the reason why I transferred to Auburn was because I got a job at the commercial radio station in Auburn while I was a student, WAUD, AM 1230. And they allowed me to do a lot. I covered city council meetings. I did an on air shift. I covered news and obituaries, but they also let me do play by play. I did Auburn University baseball when I was a sophomore. I'm sorry, a junior in college. I was Bo Jackson's last year. And I thought this is the way it's going to be every year. Standing room only crowds all over the SEC, and it wasn't necessarily that way always, but it was a great way to start, and I've been doing it ever since.
So then you spoke so well about your journey from when you were a young kid to going to college. I would love for you to speak on now your first job that you received in broadcasting and sports media and the journey from your first job to where you are now at Troy.
Well, when I finished college, I ended up working for that same radio station full time for several years and knocked around that market. There's some wonderful radio stations in that area of Alabama, and I just went where the opportunities were to do Auburn baseball. I did Auburn women's basketball, and then I got a job in Montgomery, Alabama, doing a sports talk show. And that was when I broke into television. At that point, I did Troy State football television package, and that morphed into working as the primary television play-by-play announcer for an old entity called College Sports Southeast. And I went all over the SEC, all over the Atlantic Sun, all over the Transamerica Athletic Conference and the Sun Belt. And when I started doing that and getting a little bit more and doing the talk show, an opportunity opened up at Troy University for their radio play-by-play announcer, and I had already done a good bit of stuff for Troy, and I've been doing that. I just wrapped up my 23rd year doing that, doing a talk show. It's a full day, believe me.
So I wanted to ask you, for a young person like myself or somebody that's watching who's either a young broadcaster or maybe a young sports media talent, what is some advice you would give somebody who's kind of on the younger side in the industry?
Well, it's again another story that I hope is interesting. I have always been, and I mentioned it for a moment, just a voracious reader. I do my daily show, my morning show in my home studio, which has got books all over the place. I got hundreds of books, and so I've always read. I've always valued my ability to command the English language, to be able to be expressive. Very rarely am I or any of the broadcasters that have been at it for a while at a loss for the perfect word or a serviceable word to use. So I would say number one, command the language, because quite frankly, anybody who's entering the field loves sports and is willing to work and pay their dues to whatever it takes to be successful. The most important thing, the two most important things about getting ahead, number one, I firmly believe it, is your ability to command the English language, your ability to express yourself extemporaneously off the top of your head. You can do all the preparation that you possibly can, and I believe in that too. But it does not translate if you do not express it correctly and do not do justice to your preparation. The number two thing, and this is something I still do, even though I've been in the business for 4 decades, don't ever turn down an opportunity if you can help it. I can't remember the last time I've ever said no to something unless it was contractually I couldn't do it. Always expand your parameters. You never stop learning. You never stop evolving. You are never a finished product. This past year, I began doing television at Troy for women's soccer, which I'd never done before. I've done volleyball before on television in the SEC, but I started again doing television for Troy volleyball. And it's not a have to kind of an assignment, it's a get to, because it's something new, it's something different, it's something else to try to master. So that's it. If I can put it in a nutshell, number one, read. Be thoroughly conversant in the English language. And number two is work, as much work as you can possibly get. I fail to see any reason how that could be a negative at all. The more work you do, the more evolved you get and the more proficient you get. There's no shortcuts to any of it.
Would you say the reading that you've done with all the books, would you say there's a focus in sports? Would you say it's a reading of all genres? So to
Of
capture
all genres. It's funny because there have been some corollary benefits. I'm a big history buff. I love histories and biographies. I have several fascinations: Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and all that, but plenty of fiction as well. The corollary is that in 2003, I got put forward to be on Jeopardy, and I had to qualify for it, and I qualified for it. I was one of 12, I think, of about 400 people that attempted to qualify in downtown Atlanta. So I was actually on an episode of Jeopardy before. I had never really watched it very much, and I did okay. I mean, I won some money, but I didn't, I didn't move on or anything. But it's just, be conversant, always be curious. My curiosity, I think, has served me well in life, and it surely has served me well in broadcasting.
would you say, with the sports media just world always changing, right? The medium is always growing, always has different aspects that it can just branch out to. It's never the same every day. What are some ways that you have kind of evolved with the sports media world with your 4 decades working in this industry?
Well, the way to evolve is to never be complacent. Always be curious. I've had things that I thought were not necessarily weaknesses, but weren't necessarily strengths, and you got to work on those. I never was really satisfied for years of my abilities as an interviewer. because I'm always curious. I always have a empathy for whoever I'm interviewing, but I never really thought I was particularly efficient at it. One of my great friends in the world and in the industry is Andy Burcham. He's the voice of the Auburn Tigers. He and I have worked together and known each other for 35 years, and I don't know of a better human being, much less a better sportscaster. And I've always admired his ability to interview. And I got to admit, I took advantage of some of that. I would listen to his interviews, not necessarily for the content, but to see how he follows up a question, how you set up a question, and not just Andy, although he's great at it, but so many people, the mechanics of doing an interview. So never feel complacent. Like, man, I've got this figured out. Every year, I try to be a better interviewer. I try to, to improve my score sheets. Is there a better way to do this? I try to improve my range, soccer, volleyball. I never would have thought I would have ended up doing it, but I embrace it. So as the medium changes, as the media change, I think it's every bit as important to focus on the change within yourself personally and professionally as well.
So just one final question I'd like to ask everybody I interview is not about their past, but about their future. What are you looking forward to now in the future of your career? You've already established yourself as one of the best voices, in my opinion, in all of college sports, let alone sports. What do you look to? You like to grow, of course. What do you look for in the future of your career?
It probably is sounds counterproductive to say. My life has simplified a great deal now that I'm at the stage of career when I'm not constantly looking for a job. I am thoroughly satisfied with my work at Troy and with the position I'm in, with my personal life, my family life. I've got grandkids now and all of that stuff. So I'm not looking anymore. But what I do think, as far as goal setting goes at this stage of my career, what I really want to do, and this is how I focus on things now. Again, so a lot of broadcasters will compartmentalize their schedule because I do 134 events a year. And if you look at it all at once, it's daunting. It's intimidating. So this is what I really hope to do in the future. I hope to have a really good broadcast when Troy plays August the 30th in football against Nichols. That's it. I want to have a good broadcast when we have our first coaches show. I'm focused on, all right, what kind of questions do I need to ask? Can we tweak the format? What can I do to make it a little bit different in our pregame show for the football broadcast? That's what I focus on. And the long term will take care of itself. Sure, I still have goals and everything, but my main focus to keep it workable for me and without being just totally daunting, my next big goal is to have a good broadcast in my next broadcast.
That's awesome. Barry, I just wanted to ask you one more small thing. Is there anything you want to add on before we hop off this interview?
Well, I have to speak to you and to the about the honor. This is something that so many of the people that I know and revere in the market have spoken about, not necessarily just the honor of being named as sportscaster, sports writer, of the year in your state, but also, hey, I've been a member of NSMA for a good while. Everybody speaks about the experience of meeting other people within the industry, not just of networking, but doing what I'm talking about. Hey, how do you do this? Or whenever this comes up for you, how do you handle that? Just the ability to bounce things off of each other. No broadcaster is an island unto himself. I will love the opportunity to be able to go up there for the awards banquet, just for the honor. And it's a tremendous honor, but just for the chance to talk with other people and bounce ideas and see, how other people handle some of the things that I'm still trying to evolve in myself. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Barry, once again, congratulations on the 2024 Alabama Sportscaster of the Year award. Very deserved, and thank you so much for your time.
It's wonderful. Thank you very much. I enjoyed every bit of it.